Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Sri Wahyuni and I am from English Education Class A 2019. Now I will explain about the present and inform approach. Okay, the first one I would like explain about introduction. By the end of the 1980s, the profession had learned some profound lessons from our past wanderings. We had learned to be cautiously eclectic in making enlightened choices of teaching practice that were solidly grounded in the best of what we knew about second language learning and teaching. We had amassed enough research on learning and teaching that we could indeed formulate an integrated approach to language teaching practice. In the 1970s and early 1980s, there was a good deal of hoopla about the Carty 1960 methods described in the previous chapter. Even though they weren't designed or widely adopted as standard methods, they were nevertheless symbolic of a profession at least particularly cut off in a mad scramble to undo the very concept of methods was crowding under our feet. We didn't need a new method. We needed instead to get on with the business of unifying our approach to language teaching and of the designing effective tasks and techniques that were informed by that approach. So the second one is an elected approach. As an elected teacher, you think in terms of a number of possible methodological options at your disposal for tailoring classes to particular contexts. Your approach or rationale for language learning and teaching takes on great importance. It is inspired by the interconnection of all your reading and observing and discussing and teaching. The way you understand the language learning process may be relatively stable across months or years, but your approach to language pedagogy is not just a set of static principles set in stone. It is a dynamic composite of energies within you that change if you are a growing teacher. On the other hand, you might just surprise yourself at the institution you already have about the foundations of teaching. Look at the following selected list of potential choices you have in designing a lesson. On the basis of what you know so far about second language acquisition and the pedagogical process, think about which side of a continuum of possibilities you would generally learn toward. Why you would learn the way, and most important, what contextual variables might influence a change away from your general inclination. For example, the first item below asks you to choose between meaning and grammar for a focus. Okay, the next is certain classroom objectives and tasks might demand a focus on grammar. Here is the list. First, language classes should focus on meaning and grammar. Second, students learn best by using plenty of analysis and intuition. Third, it is better for a student to think directly in the second language and use translation from the first language. Fourth, Language learners need immediate rewards and long-term rewards. Fifth, with new language learners, teachers need to be tough and demanding, and gentle and empathetic. Sixth, a teacher's feedback to the student should be given frequently and infrequently so will develop autonomy. And the last is a communicative class should give special attention to accuracy and fluency. The next is to reasons for variation at the approach level. First is an approach is by definition dynamic and therefore subject to some tinkering as a result of one's observation and experience. And the second is research in second language acquisition and pedagogies almost always yields findings that are not conclusive but are subject to interpretation. The next, communicative language teaching. Is there a currently recognized approach that is a generally accepted norm in the field? A qualif yes can be captured in the term communicative language teaching or CIT. The qualification to the answer can be found in the numerous way of defining CLT and I and a plethora of interpretations. We are trying to get our learners to develop linguistic fluency, not just the accuracy. We are looking at the learners as a partners in a cooperative venture. Our classroom practice seek to draw on whether sparks learners to reach their full potential. CIT is a unique but broadly based, theoretically well-informed set of texts about the nature of language and of language learning and teaching. So there are six interconnected characteristics as a description of CLT. First, classroom goals are focused on all of the components grammatical, discourse, functional, social linguistic, and strategic of communicative competence. Goals therefore must intertwine the organizational aspects of language with the pragmatic. Second, language techniques are designed to engage learnings in the pragmatic, authentic, functional use of language for meaningful purposes. Orga- Organizational language forms are not the central focus, but rather aspects of language that enable the learner to accomplish those purposes. Third, fluency and accuracy are seen as complementary principles underlying communicative techniques. At times, fluency may have to take on more importance than accuracy in order to keep learners meaningfully engaged in language use. Fourth, students in a communicative class ultimately have to use the language productively and receptively in under in unrehearsed contexts outside the classroom. Classroom tasks must therefore equip students with the skills necessary for communication in those concepts. Next, students are given opportunities to focus on their own learning process through an understanding of their own styles of learning and through the development of appropriate strategy for autonomous learning. And last, the role of the teacher is that of facilitator and guide, not an all-knowing best over of knowledge. Students are therefore encouraged to construct meaning through genuine linguistic interaction with others. Next, I will explain about in order to take the perspective, some dermatology, dermatologizing is in order, hence, a brief summary is appropriate. First, learner-centered instruction. This term applies to curricula as well as to specific techniques. I can be concentrated with teacher-centered and has received various recent interpretation learner-centered interaction. Second, cooperative and collaborative learning. A curriculum or classroom that is cooperative and therefore not competitive usually involves the above learner-centered characteristics. Next, interactive learning. At the heart of current theories of communicative competence is the essentially interactive nature of communication. Next, whole language education, one of the most popular terms currently sweeping through our profession. Content-based instruction. Content-based classrooms may yield an increase in instruction, motivation, and empowerment. Students are focused uh, on subject matter that is important to their lives. Challenge range from a demand for a whole new genre of textbook to training of language teachers to teach concepts and skill across disciplines, profession, and occupations. The last is task-based instruction. While there is a good deal of variation among experts on how to describe or define a task, better scans concept of task seems to capture the essentials. Thank you for thank you because you want to listen my explanation. That's all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ayo,